What's up, everybody? This is the Properties and Pour Overs podcast. My name is Adam Colburn, and today I have a special guest, my buddy Nathaniel Hovsepian. What's up, Ed?
I'm doing well, man. I appreciate you having me. We did
Absolutely,
a
man.
we did a double take there on the last name. You did very well the first time, but yeah,
Right.
you knocked
Good
it out of the
deal.
park.
Good
Yeah.
deal, man. Well, cool. Thanks for coming on again. Just to get started, can you tell me where you're located in the country and kind of what your business looks like currently?
Yeah, we're in South Carolina. We're right on the border of Georgia
Okay.
and South Carolina, so we're literally exit one coming into South Carolina. And
Nice.
we're currently buying creative deals pretty all over the country,
Love it.
barring a couple of, states. So if they're basically creative and at least break even as a
Hmm.
long-term rental, we're interested in looking at it and seeing if it kind of pencils out for us.
Awesome. And so
Yeah.
mainly just long-term rental strategies, or are you doing a little bit of everything?
Yeah, long-term rentals are actually very few and far between.
Hmm.
She's actually, I don't know if you can see her on the couch over here. My wife Brittany is actually underwriting one as a long-term rental right now that just came
Okay.
through, and it's like, oh, this one
Awesome.
might work out. But no,
Love
it's
it.
pretty mid-term, short-term, and co-living.
Okay.
Pad split and just
Yeah.
regular co-living houses.
Cool, man. I love that. Awesome. Well, what did life look like before real estate? Like, what brought you into the creative space?
Oh man. Well, I was in the Marine Corps. This is going back 2003, so 20.
Okay.
Wow, 20 over 20 years at this point.
Wow.
Um, and then I got out. I did a bunch of odd jobs, and for some reason, real estate was always in the background. Maybe I could do this. I did a stint in Arizona at a technical college for mechanics,
Okay.
and I wish I kicked myself sometimes because the Arizona market these days is
It's
amazing.
crazy.
And I
Yeah.
had the chance to buy, this was right after the crash in 2008 too. And I
Okay.
just, you don't know what you don't know,
Of
but
course. Yeah.
I fell into real estate kind of. I bought a condo in California and it appreciated, and we sold that when we moved out of California, and then bought a property in Oklahoma. It
Mm.
was supposed to be our house,
Yeah.
and my wife Brittany got a job an hour and a half away, and so we were like, oh,
That's not a
I
fun
guess,
commute. Yeah.
yeah, no, I guess this is going to be our rental property that we wanted to buy, and so
Gotcha.
ended up doing that. And man, we started wholesaling. You get the taste of like, oh, you can make money here in real estate.
Absolutely.
We started going direct to seller with the intent to buy houses, and
Hmm.
you get into agreements with people that have a house that you're not really interested in. You're like, oh, I'll just wholesale this one. And
Right.
8 years later, we were wholesalers. And
Okay.
with the occasional, we were doing some flips as well, just for projects.
Sure.
But earlier this year, we were like, this is not what we got started for. We got started to buy and hold properties, and
Yeah.
we have done that in a little bit, but not to the extent of what we want to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally makes sense. Okay. And so on your journey from getting into there, you said like you find yourself, you look up one day and now you've been wholesaling for 8 years and you
Yeah.
kind of fell off the path. Like, was there any specific like hurdles that you had to overcome to get to where you're currently at? Like, I know like wholesaling's great, right? It's the cash
Yeah.
machine of most real estate investors' businesses, right? And
Yeah.
you can kind of turn those profits back around into buying these assets. So it's definitely a good strategy. But if you kind of get locked into it, it can just become another job, right? Another high
Yeah.
paying job.
Yep.
And so, like, what was one of those big struggles for you to kind of break out of that and move more into like your purpose of these creative rentals?
Yeah, it was. I wouldn't say that it was a struggle necessarily so much as a life choice that we made.
Sure.
Brittany had, when we had our second kid, we had made the decision like, hey, we're doing really well,
Hmm.
and you don't need to go back to work at this W-2 anymore. And so she had
Yeah.
left the W-2 with the intent of becoming, co-owner, even though she was already co-owner, but
Right. Right.
more
No, I
active
get
in
you.
the
Yeah.
business. And
Totally.
as a wholesaler, when you're in that grind of it, it's
Hmm.
being on the phones with sellers and being on the phones, or agents, and being on the phones with buyers.
Yep.
And she does not want to be on the phones.
Right.
And so she found herself in a pseudo secretarial role, and that's
Okay.
not, you don't leave a really good job where
Yeah.
you're project managing these big Department of Defense projects to
Oh
become
wow.
a secretary for your husband.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
quite the downgrade. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
and so it
Makes
was like,
sense.
where do we go from here? Like
Yeah.
we took a step back, took stock in what we wanted. We ended up focusing on flipping for a little while,
Okay.
just because that brought a little bit more fulfillment, I guess, from
Sure.
the partnership. And
Yeah,
then
totally.
I don't know how many houses you've flipped or anybody out there, but we were finding ourselves, at least me, we did all the work to find the house, we did all the work to fix the house up, and then we're just gonna let this thing go. And
You kind of
we
get
didn't.
emotionally attached a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, like why are we gonna let this thing go? We just did all this work for it, and
totally.
yeah, we made money, we made
Hmm.
pretty good money doing it, but
Right.
it was just like this isn't why we got started,
Yeah,
and so
totally.
yeah, taking a
No,
step back, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, and for me too, because like we actively flip like 3 or 4 houses at a time. And so
okay,
it's really rewarding to turn like these junker houses into these
yeah,
beautiful homes that people are going to live in. But yeah, you have that thought of like, where I think back on some that we've sold and it's like, man, we should have really kept that one. Like it's
yeah,
appreciated like crazy. But
yeah,
also, again, kind of going back to the wholesaling thing, like it becomes a job in itself. Like I'm just driving around the county trying to go pick up materials and meet with contractors and do this all that kind of stuff. And it's like for me, like I just want the time freedom, right?
yeah,
And so like in that aspect, I would rather just wholesale because then I don't. There's no risk, right?
mm,
Like if I can find a good deal, I sell it, we get the money immediately, and then I can turn that in and go and buy a cash flowing asset and then still have the income that I want, but now I can
yeah,
have all that time freedom to go and spend time with my wife and kids or do
yeah,
other hobbies or work on other stuff, right? Like
yeah.
we've got the coffee shop here. I'm trying to scale that as well. And so
Okay,
it's like um I really like the process of flipping, but the cash conversion cycle is slow. And then also, yeah, like that you kind of get emotionally attached to some of them and you want to keep them.
yeah,
But if you're 6 months deep into a project and it's like, I really need that paycheck,
yeah. I need to get it out. Yeah,
it's like that, it's that constant struggle of like, what do I do with this thing? So I
yeah.
totally get it. Yeah. Okay. Well, so like along your journey in real estate, what do you think from your time in the military? Is there anything specific about that it kind of formed you in how you go about like talking to sellers or structuring deals and stuff like that, or just some like personality traits that have helped you be successful in real estate investing?
I would say maybe the opposite.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I there's a lot of things about the Marine Corps that you can look at from an outside perspective and go, yeah, like, oh, those are really good. But when you're in
Sure.
there in the day to day of it,
Yeah.
the Marine Corps, while it's difficult in some respects, it's pretty easy. There's somebody there telling you where to go, when to be there, and
Sure.
what you're gonna do. There's
Yeah.
meals always provided for you, right? You always have a roof over your head. And
Yeah. Totally.
I was never a self-starter kind of person,
Okay.
right? I really needed to have a big reason to be doing something, and in the Marine
Sure.
Corps, it's just like, do this or you're gonna get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, it's enough structure to keep you going, but then yeah,
yeah,
I mean that is definitely a kind of a mindset shift or more of a discipline thing. Like
yeah,
now you're the boss. Like you have to make the rules, you have to set
yep,
the timelines and be disciplined to pick up that phone and call those sellers
yeah.
and build out your calendar. And so okay,
So
yeah. So
that
it's more
last point, actually, the calendar thing, that's how I do it, and that's
yeah,
something that you could kind of take away from the Marine Corps is like the Marine Corps works because it has such structure
yeah,
and such like this is when you're going to do this and this is what you're going to do. So if you
right,
look at my calendar, the I'm going to do it here as soon as we get done with this podcast because it's
yeah,
nighttime when we're
sure,
recording this. As I build my calendar up for the next day, like there are
yeah,
certain things that are always going to be there: lunch,
yeah,
dinner, waking up the kids, right? And then there are
hmm,
calls that are on there that I've booked appointments with, and then
right,
now I've got a notepad. Whoops, I was going to pick up the notepad. It's here, I swear. Um,
nice,
I've got a notepad of things that need to get done this week
sure,
or this month, right? And so, what's the
yeah,
highest priority items? And then
hmm,
I'm filling in my time blocking for the day,
yeah,
right? And that's how I've structured myself to be able to get things done. Otherwise, I'm
totally,
like, you wake up and you're like, oh, I have a call at 10, and then oh, lunch is at 11:30. I'll probably do
right,
something in between there. We don't know
yeah.
what that's going to be, but yeah,
No, dude, I totally get it. Yeah, I live and die by my calendar in the same way because
yeah,
for me, if it's not scheduled, it's not happening, right?
right,
It's the life will start to life and things will come up. The kids will be crying. A dog needs
Yep.
to go to the vet. Something else will happen.
Yeah.
And if it's not on the calendar, like it's just going to get pushed to the background. And then who knows when I'm going to remember to
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
And so like I'm notorious for having like those notebooks that you have. I was using those as like my CRM for the longest time.
Oh yeah.
And so like, which is great for building rapport with sellers and doing that kind of stuff. Like I still like doing it even now that we have a CRM set up, but it's like the automating the follow-ups and stuff like that. Cause
Oh
if I
yeah.
forget to put it on my calendar, like it's not happening. And
Right.
so, dude, I totally get you
Yeah.
because that part for me was super difficult getting started. Is like, nobody's telling me when to go here, do this, do that. Like if I don't spend time to sit down and really optimize my day, then I'm going to waste it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I
100%.
think that's really smart. So you do it, you build out your schedule every day, like right around this time for the
Yeah.
next day.
Yeah, I've like clear, I have a this that's not the notes. I have 3 pages worth of notes from the day. I clear that out and then
Sure.
go, okay, I take, 10 or 15 minutes. All right, what is on the docket for tomorrow? What
Yeah.
properties do we have open and what needs to be done on those properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I do a lot of stuff on Facebook posting and,
Sure.
creating content between the
Yeah.
different groups and podcasts and the like Zooms that I do, and it's
Right.
like, okay, building those things out, making sure that you're prepared for whatever calls you have going on. And
Absolutely.
it all takes a little bit of time. So it's, yeah, filling in that white space. We color code everything on
Yeah.
our calendar so you can easily look, all right, this is
Yeah.
Nathaniel's time. This is Brittany's work time, right? Who's with
Love
the
it.
kids when? Yeah.
Yeah.
But just fill out that empty space because, like you're saying, what is it? The idle hands or the devil's playground?
For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
No, totally. Yeah. I, at this point now, I get stressed out if my calendar's open. Like,
Yeah.
I need to put something in here. Like, something needs to get done because
Yeah.
that time is for sure going to get wasted. And I'm
Yeah.
going to look up and then it's the end of the day and nothing got
Yeah.
done. And
Yeah.
so,
That's the
totally
worst.
get it.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, switching back, I know you said that you guys are focusing on co-living and kind of pad splits and stuff. Are you guys self-managing those properties? Are you doing the pad split model where you're just kind of putting them out on a marketplace? Like, tell me a little bit more about how you've structured those rentals.
Yeah, each property is its own little business, so to speak. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we're entering a new market, right, we're vetting contractors and we're vetting property managers. And
Yeah.
when I say we, it's our operations manager that we brought on
Sure.
to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
so she's going through and seeing if we're going to do a pad split, for example, like if it's a
Yeah.
pad split market and that's the route we're going,
Mm-hmm.
what property managers are versed in pad split in these
Yeah.
areas. We're not breaking into any new markets with pad split. That's not the route we're going. We're only
Sure.
going into established markets, and so
Yeah.
we're going with established property managers, right?
Yeah.
They already know what they're doing. As far as like, we prefer not doing pad split. We prefer doing, young professionals, people in school, so like think universities and
Sure. Yeah. Just student housing in general.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and it's the same thing though, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just call up a long-term rental property manager and go, "Hey, there's 6 long-term renters in here." That's not the way it works, right?
Yeah.
Not
Totally.
everybody wants to do it. Yeah, so it's.
Yeah. For sure.
I hope I answered your question there. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, because like I think I love the idea of pad split, but me personally, I haven't really went that route. My main focus for buy and holds is sober living.
Okay.
And so it's similar cash flow, but I don't have to chop up the house all crazy and to make
Right.
like 10 bedrooms and turn these
Yeah.
houses into like this weird labyrinth.
Yeah.
Because for me, just thinking long term, like if this doesn't work out for whatever reason, or I plan on exiting, unless I sell to another pad split investor, I'm going to have to undo all of these
Yeah.
changes that I've made to this house and basically renovate twice.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to do that with sober because I can put multiple occupants in each bedroom, which you can't do with pad split. And then their fees are just really high.
Yeah.
And so being able to offload the properties to like a nonprofit or a mom and pop operator in the sober space, like I'm not paying a management fee,
Right.
which is great. So that just keeps additional revenue in my pocket. And even just like you're saying, going with student housing, yeah, you might have a manager, but those are reliable tenants and you could double up in that instance, right? Like put
Right.
2 guys in the same bedroom
Yeah.
and still charge them the same. And now you've just increased your revenue for your property.
Yeah.
So I like that model way more. Is there, I guess, moving forward, like, do you have a specific door count or is it like a revenue goal per month that you guys are chasing like in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah. let's see, it's 10 and a half months at this point. We're shooting for 50K per month net cash flow
Love
from
it.
assets. Yeah,
That's awesome.
we're on track to get there. We'll get there, hopefully even before then. But we set ourselves a 12-month goal a month and a
Amazing.
half ago. Yeah.
Cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. If somebody's watching this and they're acquiring creative deals, or they're finding deals that kind of fit your criteria, where should they reach out to you, and you might be a buyer for them?
Yeah, the best place is just search my name on Facebook or really any Instagram, YouTube, but I'm on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook most of the day.
Sure.
Or you can send it to Joanna, Joanna, at theexperthomebuyers.com. Just reach out to me on Facebook. We'll connect. It's
Love
more,
it.
I want more than just to do a deal with you. I want to find out what your
Yeah.
business looks like, where you're trying to get to, like
Mm-hmm.
what hurdles you're running into, and how I can help you kind of navigate those and get you to where you want to go farther and faster.
Love it. That's awesome. Well, great, Nathaniel. I really appreciate the time. Get to kind of dive into your business and learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
If you have any other things to say to the listeners before we wrap up.
No, I don't. I mean, I appreciate you having me, man. I know it took us a couple weeks to get it ironed out. Facebook
Yeah.
was not our friends,
Right.
but we got it done. If you're out there and you're just trying to get started, really the biggest thing, like we talked about, is structuring your day.
Yeah.
If you have an hour, figure out how to maximize that hour's worth of time, right? You don't want
Mm-hmm.
to go, hey, I got from 6 to 7, and then get there at 6 and go, okay, what am I gonna do? And then 15 minutes later, you haven't even gotten started on anything. So
Yeah.
make sure you're
Totally.
maximizing your time. That's the biggest thing. A lot of us know what to do at this point.
Yeah.
It's just about going out there and doing it.
Yeah, dude. Taking the action. That's the biggest
Yeah,
thing in this
it
business
really
for
is.
sure.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, Nathaniel, thanks again. Really
Yeah.
appreciate you having everybody watching. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Later.
Peace.